Hey there, joy seekers. Welcome back to Find the Joy with Jen. I'm Jen. I am so glad you're here with me today. If you have been through a divorce, especially as a person of faith, I want to speak straight to your heart today because divorce does not just end a marriage. It can feel like it ends your sense of identity, stability, and even your faith in what God has promised you. You might find yourself asking questions like, did I mess up God's plan? Did I marry the wrong person? Will my kids ever be okay? Can I ever really feel whole again? Is my life redeemable? If any of that sounds familiar to you, I want you to lean in because today I am sharing a truth that can completely shift the way you see your healing journey, your family, and your future. And I promise this truth will change everything for you, friend. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that bell because I create new videos every week to help you find faith, peace, and joy in your divorce journey. And I don't want you to miss one of them. And if something you hear today resonates with you, please let me know in the comments because I read every one of them. And I would love to hear where you're watching from today. Tell me where you're tuning in from and let me know what's on your heart today. Here it is. This is what I call my domino statement. When you realize that divorce isn't the end of God's plan for your family, it is the beginning of your healing. You stop feeling broken and you start becoming whole again. When you take that in, when it moves from your head to your heart, it changes everything about how you live, pray, and move forward in your divorce journey. Because here is the truth. The enemy wants you to believe that divorce is the end of your happiness, the end of your story, the end of your worth. He wants you to believe that your faith story is over. And he wants you to believe that your hopes and dreams for an eternal family were useless, that you will never have that. But God never stops writing your story. He doesn't abandon you halfway through your journey. Divorce does not mean that you have failed. It means that He's calling you to a deeper kind of faith, one where your healing becomes a sacred, holy experience. When I went through my divorce, I remember feeling like I had stepped off of a cliff and landed into a fog that I really couldn't see my way out of. I had grown up, like many of you, trusting and believing that if I just did all the right things, if I prayed hard enough and I stayed faithful and I made all the right choices and married the right person at the right place at the right time, that God would protect you from this kind of pain, from this kind of disappointment and betrayal and heartbreak. So when it happened, I questioned everything, my worth, of course, my choices and who I married, and choosing to stay for as long as I did, and even in my ability to trust God in this whole process. I remember one Sunday, I was sitting alone in the chapel, surrounded by all of these families, and I just felt so alone. I felt invisible and completely out of place. Maybe you felt that way too. I thought this isn't how it's supposed to be. I've done all the right things. I made all the right choices. How could I end up here alone? It was seriously one of the lowest moments in my life. But here's when everything shifted for me. It was a quiet impression that I felt one night while praying through tears. I was literally screaming out to my Father in heaven to help me see how I could possibly get through this with my three young children and being a single mom. I was just starting the divorce process. I didn't know how to get divorced, and I had no idea how I was going to provide for myself and my children and possibly get through. And I remember just crying out in tears and in prayer. And I had a gentle thought come into my mind. Jen, I'm not done with your story. Don't lose your faith. You have to stay strong through this. I will never forget that deep, penetrating thought. I knew it wasn't my own because I had never thought that before. but I knew it came from God. And those words broke something open inside of me. God wasn't punishing me, and I knew deep in my soul, He wasn't finished with me or my story or my family's story. He was inviting me into healing, not after the pain was over, but through the pain, through the heartbreak. He was inviting me to trust Him, to lean on Him through this process. So, slowly, step by step, I started to see that this season wasn't the end of my purpose. It was definitely the start of a much deeper one. That's when the idea, the little seed was planted for Faithful Divorce and what I do today, life coaching men and women through the challenges of divorce. Out of that pain, out of those prayers, out of that realization that healing was possible when you stop trying to fix everything on your own and start letting God lead you. That's when this idea started to take shape and to form, that I could survive and grow stronger and even thrive through my divorce journey. And I had the passion, the desire to help other people do the same thing. So, as I started helping others through their divorce journeys, I started recognizing that so many people stay stuck, not because they want to, but because they don't know how to move forward. We get trapped in a loop of unanswerable questions and what ifs. Like, what if I had just tried harder? What if I had married someone different? What if God is so disappointed in me? I'm not redeemable. What if my kids never forgive me and grow up with lots of problems because of this divorce? There's so many questions that come into our minds that we replay over and over that aren't answerable, that keep us stuck. Those thoughts become heavy chains that keep you from stepping into the freedom and the healing that God wants for you. But here's what I've seen as I've learned the tools of coaching and I've been helping many men and women walk this road through my coaching program. The moment that you stop fighting your story and start inviting God into it, everything begins to change. Because here's the truth, my friend, you cannot heal what you keep hiding. You can't receive peace if you're still clinging to guilt and shame. Healing begins when you surrender the narrative that you have failed and replace it with the truth that God is still working in you, through you, and for you. And that's where coaching comes in. It bridges the gap between what you believe in your faith and what you feel in your everyday life. It helps you see your situation through the lens of grace and not guilt. And you actually learn practical skills that you can apply to help you get out of those trapped thought loops that keep you stuck. So, what does this look like in real life? Let me share a story from one of my clients. We'll call her Sarah. Sarah came to me heartbroken and exhausted after the pain of her divorce. She was trying her best to co parent and hold her job together and still be the strong one for her children, clinging on to her faith. But she told me she felt like she was just crumbling inside. Through our coaching, she began to realize something powerful, that she didn't have to be strong alone. She learned how to invite the Spirit back into her healing process, how to create calm and stability in her home, and how to stop seeing herself as broken and unredeemable. Within a few months, she went from barely surviving to learning to thrive in her divorce journey, praying with peace again, setting healthy boundaries with her ex, and seeing her divorce not as the end of her story, but as a chapter in her redemption story. That's the kind of transformation that happens when you stop doing it alone and you get help, my friend. That's why I created the Faithful Divorce Coaching Program. I walk you through the exact process you need to heal and regain your hope and create the life you want to have. It is a Christ centered space where we blend faith, with emotional healing work and practical tools to help you rebuild your life one step at a time. Inside the program, I teach you my four-step Hope formula, the same process that I learned on my own to help me heal and that I now use with my clients. The first step is to have peace and learn how to accept your situation, whatever that is. The second step is to open your heart to God and partner with Him in your healing journey. This is a powerful and essential step. The third step is to make progress. This is where so many people just don't move forward and they stay stuck after divorce. You cannot move forward and grow better with the same thinking that got you where you are today. You have to start by changing your thoughts, and that's what I help you do. And the fourth step is to establish the life you want to have and then live into it, to live with clarity, confidence, and joy. It is possible, friends. Every week we meet for live coaching where you get personalized guidance and you learn from others walking the same road. You feel the Spirit bringing peace into your healing journey. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start rebuilding your life, not alone, but with faith, purpose, and community, I would love to invite you to join us. You can click the link in the description to learn more and join Faith-Filled Divorce today. And if you're not sure what your next step should be, book a free Reclaim Your Joy strategy session with me. Everyone gets one free session. I keep several spots open on my calendar every week. If you've never had one, come set up an appointment with me and let's chat. And we will walk through your situation. I will help you identify where you're stuck and get clear on your next right step moving forward. Because clarity brings peace, my friends, and peace is the path to healing. So, if you take nothing else from this video, remember this: divorce is not the end of God's plan for your family. It is the beginning of your healing journey. You are not broken, my friend. You are not disqualified from peace, love, or joy. And you are never too far gone for God to redeem your story. You can start today, right where you are, by believing that God still has a plan for you. As I tell my clients every week, if you have not seen God's hand in your life, don't give up, my friend. He is not done. I promise you, His plans for your life are far better than anything you can imagine. And if you haven't seen that yet, if you haven't seen those little miracles, don't give up. Hold on to your faith. He is still working in your life and you will see them soon. If this message has spoken to your heart, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs it. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for more faith-filled encouragement every week. Until next time, keep holding on to your faith, friends. Do not give up. Keep seeking joy. It is there if you choose to find it. Bye, y'all.